Mr. President, you have to give the Democrats credit for one thing, and that's a healthy dose of gall. Both the House and Senate Democrat leaders were out last week claiming that they can't fund the government until, get this, we solve the, quote, Republican health care crisis, end quote. That's right, the Republican health care crisis. It is truly amazing how a program Democrats created and tax credits that they chose to sunset have now become the Republicans' crisis. Republicans, in fact, never had anything to do with it. Democrats created Obamacare alone. They implemented the enhanced tax credits alone. And they chose a sunset date for those tax credits alone. Democrats are solely responsible for the Obamacare tax credit cliff. And yet they're trying to pin this disaster on Republicans while at the very same time they're asking Republicans to bail them out. It's really kind of ironic, Mr. President. Well, Democrats may not win a lot of points for truthfulness, but you have to give them credit for gall. Now, Mr. President, while Democrats may have created this health care situation, I have made it clear from the beginning that Republicans are willing to have a discussion about how to address it. In fact, I'm perfectly willing to guarantee Democrats a vote. But none of that is going to happen until Democrats reopen the government. We're not going to negotiate on anything until Democrats stop holding government funding hostage. And if they really want to address their Obamacare mess, they should stop running out the clock on a deal. And all they're doing by that action, Mr. President, is keeping the government shut down and enhancing, believe it or not, the chances this situation doesn't get fixed because the clock is running. Now, Mr. President, before I leave the subject of health care, I do have to mention the irony that while Democrats claim they're defending Americans' health care, their shutdown has actually suspended valuable health care services for a lot of Americans. Medicare and rural patients are currently dealing with the elimination of telehealth services thanks to the government shutdown. Telehealth, of course, increases the accessibility of care and lets those who live far from medical treatment or who otherwise struggle to travel to conduct prescription refill appointments or other visits from the comfort of their home. But that assistance is currently being denied to them thanks to the Democrat shutdown. But I'm not sure why I'm talking about shutdown costs. Democrats have made it very clear that they don't care about the costs of the shutdown to anyone. Democrats used to care, of course, or so they claimed. In fact, I could fill a book with Democrat quotes on how shutdowns harm hardworking Americans. But over the past 3 weeks, it's become clear that Democrats' previous concerns had more to do with politics than with principle. Democrats were against shutdowns when it served their purposes, and now that it serves their purposes, or so they think, to keep the government closed, they're all for shutdowns, no matter how many Americans have to suffer in the process. Well, Mr. President, I've talked about health care today, and Democrats would definitely like Americans to think that that's what this shutdown is about. But of course, the biggest driver of the shutdown is not health care or any other issue. It's the Democrats' far-left base. Left-wing activists demanded a showdown with President Trump, and Democrats fell in line. That's why you see the Democrat leader, who actually voted to fund the government in the spring, leading the shutdown brigade this time around. Far-left groups were rallying this weekend, and the Democrat leader and other Democrat senators were out paying homage. And if these same left-wing groups have their way, Democrats will be keeping up the shutdown for a long time to come. They don't really care about a solution, Mr. President. It's about politics. For the sake of the American people, let's hope that there are some Democrat senators who will eventually put the needs of their constituents over the demands of their far-left base and work with Republicans to pass the clean, nonpartisan funding measure that is saying right here in front of us today. And when passed, will be sent to the President and signed into law, and this government will open up again.